Ajoy and Jenny, welcome to Circee TV. This is the very first episode of the Circee TV, and who better to kick the show off than the founders themselves? So why don't we actually start off with a small introduction about yourself so that our audience get to know about how vastly experienced and knowledgeable you guys are. So Jenny, why don't you go first?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Ajoy Prabhu. So I am a double board certified physician. I was trained in the US and I'm specialized in both internal medicine and pediatrics. So that means I basically get to take care of everybody, which I love doing. I now about 15 years of experience as a doctor. Actually, thousands of patients I've taken care of in the US, and now I've begun to take care of patients in India as well because I have my Indian medical license, which is super exciting. We're both proud of that. So that's me in a nutshell.
I'm Ajoy Prabhu. I have a background in pathology and I have a business degree, an MBA, both of them from University of Maryland, which is incidentally the same school that we went to for School of Medicine. And my last job was really at the NIH, which is the lead institute for all of medical research. In fact, one of the largest research institute in the world, where the most advanced technologies are being investigated. And I was in charge of all their patenting and marketing of those patents. That was my background. I also worked with the White House when Obama was president, with the Office of Science and Technology Policy, where I was leading the efforts for consolidating all the federal government data sets, not just medical data sets, but from all agencies. That gave me a very good idea about how best to use data. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with Circee Health. We're adding some of those components there.
Oh, that is some vast and diverse experience that we have on the show today. So what is Circee and what do we actually do here? Why don't we tell our audience what is Circee and what do we aim to do here?
Yeah.
So the short answer for that is Circee is what we've been calling a disease reversal clinic. So believe it or not, all those chronic diseases that I'm sure everyone hears about, unfortunately in yourselves or in family members, diabetes, high blood pressure, thyroid problems, heart problems even, they can actually be reversed completely and for the rest of your life. You can, tick that problem off your medical list and be done with it. So that's what our ultimate goal is for our patients, is to reverse your disease and get you to a healthier life. It sounds crazy. It sounds like that's impossible, but we've, over the past 4 or 5 years, using several different methods. Thank you. Using several different methods, which we are now sharing with our patients and clients. We've been able to actually reverse it in several of our patients in the US, and we're starting to do that in India too. So we're excited to share our methods with you guys and get people feeling better and healthier. I don't know if you want to add anything. No, that's the short version.
Yeah.
Right. So what is actually Circee? How did you come up with the name Circee? Because I've heard of it and it's very interesting. I want the audience to know as well, because I really love the way you've gone about that.
No, I was actually investigating, how there's a cosmetic brand Lakme that Tata started. That Lakme is really Lakshmi in French, and I was just investigating and found out that there is a Lakshi in Greece, which is also Lakshmi. So there used to be a lot of trade between the two countries, and we were using a person who was helping us with the branding, and he said, "Have you looked into some of the old names?" And he suggested, I don't want to take the credit for it, but he suggested that. Circe was the name of, still is the name of a goddess in Greece, but long time ago, the name Circe or Circe came from Saraswati. And since Saraswati is really our goddess of knowledge and music and
education and
we felt that and really Circee Health really focuses a lot on educating patients so that once they are educated, that education cannot be taken away from them. And they will continue using that education and stay healthy. That's we felt that would be a good good name to use.
That's amazing. I really love the way you came about that. So we were actually talking about disease reversal and the methods that you've been studying. So what is the typical reaction you get from people when they say, when you say that you can reverse this disease, you can do things like that? What do they say? And if they don't believe, how do you convince them
Well, their eyebrows go up is probably the first, or they fall.
to? I think that was the same reaction I gave as well.
Yeah, I think unfortunately in medicine, even as doctors, we're so used to just, you diagnose someone with a disease and unfortunately that's it, and you just keep adding medications and adding complications from the medicines or from the disease itself. That's just what we're taught in medical school, and that's what patients are used to because that's just the way it's been. But now with more and more research, there's the goal can be the opposite, to take medications away and to make patients healthier as they get older or as time goes on, as opposed to the opposite. So I think our most important proof is in the medical literature. So we make sure that 100% of what we recommend to our patients, you can Google it, or not Google it, that's the wrong thing. So you can up in medical research literature like PubMed, which is the main one that we use in the US, but also it's worldwide. And that, looks at renowned journals that have proven in hundreds, thousands of patients that you don't need to take pills to feel better. So that's where, our main thing is evidence-based. That's what we want to, really impose upon you to understand, that we aren't just taking this from one anecdotal story. It's been proven, believe it or not, Ajoy can tell you from the 40s, 50s.
No,
It's
actually,
been going on
I
for
went back to the
years.
literature, and there was a Hungarian scientist by the name of Mechnikov, Gregor
Okay.
Mechnikov, and he had discovered this 140 years ago, that anybody that is
Okay.
taking more fermented foods lives longer. That was the beginning of this whole thing. And then I have example after example, which I don't want to go into details, but that really proved that with good nutrition, good diet, good mental and emotional health, good spiritual health, exercise, you can actually not have these diseases.
But is it annoying after one point that people actually read WhatsApp forwards or read it somewhere random things, because you people have actually analyzed and studied things so that there are thesis and proofs based on which you have actually concluded this. So a random WhatsApp forward goes on and they don't believe you. So how annoying does it get at times?
It gets annoying. Yeah, for me at least, it gets annoying. And then she tells me that, look, this is how it is always been. It will continue to be. You just have to keep pushing the fact that here is don't look at opinions, look at facts. Here is a fact. Here are studies that say, for example, taken 100 people, 50 did this way, 50 did this way, 50 that did one method failed, 50 that did method B passed, and then method B is what we are telling people to use. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, and if you,
Right, right.
I mean, it's human nature. That's why people believe WhatsApp forwards, because it's coming from their peers, it's coming from their family. So even if we can't get
Yeah.
someone to understand the scientific literature, if we can say, hey, Uncle Joe is is not on his insulin anymore for his diabetes. Look what Uncle Joe did. Even if we can show them one person that's close to them, that if Uncle Joe listened to us, then Uncle Joe's example can be passed on, hopefully. So, we understand
Right.
it's difficult to ignore anecdotal stories and things on WhatsApp and Facebook, but we realize that, and we try to be patient with that.
Yeah, it's important to stick to what we believe and how it actually works there. Correct. So the word that you have chosen, disease reversal, it's actually a pretty interesting word. Why not cure? Why not heal? Why not something like that? But why is it reversal?
Do you want to take it?
I guess my take on that would be, reversing means going back to the way your body should be, to kind of your baseline, I guess. So,
Right.
I think when people think of a cure, they think of taking a pill or doing a specific diet or something like that. But this is just resetting and getting back to, most, thankfully, most children
The
are
way things were before everything.
before, yeah, and you can actually take that back to the way things were before, like our ancestors. a lot of times we tell our
Correct.
patients, honestly, you need to go back to the way our ancestors ate and drank and acted and moved and interacted with their communities. So it's kind of, that's the philosophical way of looking at it too. You want to take it back, reverse it back to that time.
Right. That the approach is really
It's
nice.
almost
Actually, like that.
going back in time.
So now that we have understood a lot about disease reversal and about your journey, so why don't you tell us why did you plan on starting this and what was the drive that you had within that you wanted to achieve this by then? And tell us about that.
Okay, let me take that one. So, with the journey started about, I want to say 4 years ago, but I'm actually going back even 5 years because Dr. Jenny's intention has always been, right from starting from medical school itself, she's been trying to figure out how best to get rid of disease, the medication that people have been taking. So, she was one of the first doctors in her practice that was saying, no, I want to reduce medication. And it was a little difficult, because she was not using the right methodology that she knows now. And then about 4 years ago, we started this collaboration and we said, oh,
Right.
I'm in the research field. I can look at the latest findings on what we can do. And she had some patients that she knew that were compliant, could potentially be compliant and will take on her treatment methodology. So we started doing this collaboration where I would find out, like for example, for an athletic patient, what should be done? What for a I don't know PCOS patient, what should be done? For a person that has heart disease, eczema, acne, even simple things,
Right.
what should be done? And she would try to use that on her patient, those that were willing to actually try. She could make out
Okay.
which ones will try, which ones will not try. And we noticed that
Correct. Correct.
out of the people that would say yes, we will definitely try, the success rate was above 90% in terms of reversing the disease condition. So which was amazing. We loved that fact. And we had
Right.
decided about 10 years ago that we were going to move to India anyway. So this felt like
Oh,
a perfect thing because in addition, I have to tell you some really sobering statistics. 151 million, that's 15.1 crore people are affected with non-communicable diseases in India. Out of 130 crores, 15 crores have non-communicable disease,
that's
diabetes,
a huge number.
all the diseases that I'm talking about, like the arthritis. So we felt that this is a place where we can make the maximum impact. I think that's what
Right.
drove our journey there. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I also noticed, back in the U.S., I had a lot of Indian patients. Maybe they saw my last name and that's why they decided to come to me. But the nice part about my Indian patients is they were always willing to learn and educate themselves, how they can improve their health. So, and of course, all my relatives tell me I must have been Indian in another life. So I was excited to, take my eager to learn Indian patients, but also, but move our family to our, Ajoy's former home and my adopted home and, kind of take all of that together. We're excited to continue our journey here because we think this is the best place because of, unfortunately, those statistics, but also because we know our Indian patients are willing to learn and willing to better themselves, preferably naturally. I think that's just in, with Ayurveda and things like that, people prefer the natural
Right.
method. So we kind of want to, take advantage of that and, make people better without 17 pills.
That's actually very right. Lately in India, there's been a lot of change towards people giving importance to their health. They've been working out a lot and things like that. So lately, there's been a revolution about mental health as well. So people want to give a lot of attention for their mental health. They want to stay happy everywhere. So do you think somewhere the physical health and mental health are sort of related? That you start focusing on one, the other one automatically gets better one after the other.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can tell you personally, when I, focus on my diet and my meditation and my exercise, I think my whole family notices I'm in a better mood. So
Right.
I think most people probably notice that, and so actually, a lot of what I tell Ajoy is, with my experience of being a doctor, a lot of times you have to not ask the patient, you have to ask their family or friends, because sometimes
Right.
the patient may not notice that they're getting better, but their husband or their daughter or their best friend say, you know what, they're brighter and they look younger. Believe it or not, you can see the change on the face. We've been doing telemedicine because of Corona, unfortunately. And we can, when our patient comes for a follow-up and he or she, their face pops up on Zoom, we both look at each other. They look younger. They look brighter. So
Yeah.
a lot of times it takes an outside person to notice that you're doing better. And then the person themselves says, yeah, actually, I am feeling better.
Yeah, it's just that's what it takes exactly. So let us divert a little from the medical side to your entrepreneurship journey. So tell us about that. How are you an entrepreneur? So what do you see for Circe, and what is your mission and vision, and where do you want to go with that?
Okay. So I have, for the past 18, 20 years, I have not been an entrepreneur. Before that, I just love setting up new things, and because, you can just be as creative as possible. So because of my past experience, I felt that coming to India, setting up a clinic was fine, but, if you can scale that up and we can help more people, would be fantastic. So this is like our dream job now. So we, absolutely,
Yeah,
when we wake up in the morning, we're like, oh, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. It's so exciting to set up new things, and and I know it'll definitely help others, but right now it gives a personal satisfaction that we're putting what we say ducks in a row, like we're lining things up so that when we put this, we're coming up
right.
with an app. That when people look at this app and they say, oh yeah, I can definitely use this part, and hopefully that will make them better. So healthier, and wealthier, I guess. So that's been my personal journey as far as the part of entrepreneurial. I mean,
Entrepreneurships. So now that you actually mentioned about the app, I want to understand more about the Circe app. So what will it be having? What are the features? And why should a person probably having some disease download that for his own benefit?
So the app will have hopefully many features. In fact, we just came up with a new one this morning, but right now, the app will be primarily free. Actually, I guess the basis of the app is free. So the app will provide, you're going to answer many questions, enter information. We are introducing something that we've come up with called the Circee Health Index, which takes a bunch of different criteria and basically personalizes your current health state, and where it helps us treat you better because we know kind of what we're starting with. So there's that, and then the basis of the app is to provide a tracker essentially, so you can track your again, several criteria that we've come up with, including aspects of diet, aspects of exercise, going how often you provide community service or interact with relatives, just to name a few. There's many others. So that part will be free. So you can empower yourself to get better by seeing the improvement in your blood test reports, in your weight, in your sleep, that sort of thing. So it's really about teaching, like Ajoy said earlier, teaching the patient and empowering the patient to, feel better essentially.
one thing I want to
Yeah, that's
Sorry. One thing I want to add to what Dr. Jenny said, and that is the second part, with the tracker. What we did was for about a month and a half, 2 months, she and I sat down and said, okay, for each one of these, so currently we have 28 diseases, maybe 29, it might turn into 29 diseases that we can actually reverse. So for those 29 diseases, we looked at every disease one line at a time, saying, okay, for this disease, for example, let's just say hypothyroidism. We said, what are our clinical decision-making points? So she looked at it from a clinician standpoint, like from a doctor standpoint, what are the things that she wants to see? I look at it from a disease cause standpoint and say, what are the kind of tests that I would like to run and see the numbers change in what direction and how much. So all that stuff, we just dumped it onto a piece of paper. We started writing all this stuff down. Okay, for this disease we do this. For this disease, and then we slowly converted that into an algorithm, a logic, if you will, decision support system logic, and that logic is now going to be embedded. In fact, this morning I got a call that it's already been embedded in the app. So using artificial intelligence, the app is going to prompt us first, saying this patient is doing fine, this patient is doing not so good in this area. So we can then prompt the patient saying, oh, you may want to look into this. So we feel that this is something unique that we have done. and it's not just unique for the sake of being unique. It's unique in the sense that it will reduce
It's helpfully unique, is what I feel. Yeah.
it will reduce our time for looking at the patient. It will help the patient in the sense that there is no errors. So in other words, if if you're looking at something, we might miss it. Now that we've already put it in the tracker, in the system is not going to miss it. It's a computerized, artificial intelligence enabled system. So it's not going to miss it. It's going to say, wait, you've already done this kind of tracking before, so therefore you have, my recommendation is you say this to the patient. So it's going
Right.
to get to that level, and then we just say yes or no. So it's a win-win situation.
Right. That's actually really nice. I like how both of you have completely dedicated everything to Circee, and I'm sure it's gonna reach great heights in the coming future. This is the end of our first episode, and we'll be coming up with much more content like this. So we'll actually be talking about diving into the medical side of things and understanding more that way. So I'm really looking forward to the further episodes. So this was the first episode. Thank you so much, Ajoy and Jenny, for joining us here. It was a blast having you guys here.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
See you all. Bye.